Well, good morning everybody on what is an absolutely beautiful day here in Hailsham. It truly is a very sort of refreshing break from the wet and sort of dreary weather we've been having, to actually wake up in the morning and have to sort of delayer a little bit and sort of go out in the t-shirt and enjoy the weather. It's lovely, and all of our animals have very much been enjoying it as well. What I'm currently on my way to do is say hello to our lovely kookaburras, but I thought, as we are having such lovely weather at the moment, we would quickly say hello, do a little walk round and say hello to some of our other lovely animals that are more than definitely enjoying this very warm weather we have suddenly had. So definitely is Harry. Harry's our continental giant rabbit. Bless him, he's getting quite old now, bless his heart. And on days like today, even on slightly colder days, as long as the sun's out, what Harry will more than likely be doing is sat, lying down, enjoying the sun. He is, bless him, one of the sweetest little rabbits we know. Just one day before temperatures plummet again, enjoy. I will make the most of it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to keep saying that. One, I'm baking, but two, it is lovely to just be able to look up and not see rain clouds. Because it is, I do love the winter. It is fantastic, but when it is a bit colder and the sky is all sort of glazed over, it is not the best for all the wildlife. Some can struggle, others can just simply stay and hide away. It's a lovely sunny day out there, Kevin, wherever you're hiding. We'll go say hello to the wallabies quick. Well, more than definitely enjoying the warm weather. It basically works is, depending on the year, it basically flips a coin and decides whether it's going to turn itself into a marshland or it's going to be absolutely fine and lovely. And this year the coin obviously landed sort of on its side, and it's done a little bit of both. But we are taking the opportunity to hopefully do a little bit more for them and essentially sort of spruce up their enclosure a little bit. So you notice we provide them with lots of sort of sticks and things all on the ground. When we put them in, they are literally offcuts from trees and things from where we've done a bit of maintenance, and they are there to basically be chewed on. These guys, they love chewing, they eat the bark, and it is really, really good for them. It's good for their sort of teeth, and it is also just basically environmental enrichment. Are they kangaroos? No, these guys are wallabies. They are Bennett's wallabies or red-necked wallabies. They are sort of the most common form of wallaby. They are very closely related to kangaroos, except they are a much smaller version. These guys, I think the largest we have in here is the male, who is just there, one of the albino ones, and he is, when he stands upright, he stands probably just, if he's pushing it on his properly standing up, he's probably pushing about 4 foot, whereas the majority of kangaroos are going to easily surpass 6 foot on their back legs. But yeah, where do they sleep in the wild? In terms of the wallabies, wherever they want, really. They do obviously go and try to find shelter. In most cases, it's going to be under a tree or in a thicket or some bushes. They aren't going to sleep out in the open. These guys, they do actually have, they do actually have a couple of predators. So they do want to remain hidden as best they can. Right, so we shall go from one Australian animal to another. Oh, it is really a lovely day. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying it because it is just so lovely. I know it's obviously, we are in Park Be So Barren, but I would really highly recommend going out and going for a walk today. So there is this, it's a real thing, and it's sort of one of those not hugely studied areas. It's got this sort of nickname of seasonal depression, and it's not obviously depression at all. What basically happens is where there's less light and less UV and vitamin D that can be made from it, people experience more sort of waves of tiredness, sort of reluctance to do anything, and you do get a bit glum. Quite a lot of people, one of my lecturers in college had this, and they sort of would struggle quite badly, and they'd have to take like vitamin D tablets and things to counter it. And it is a real thing, and there is fewer things in the world that can make people feel a little bit better about their day than going out and having a lovely walk in the sunshine. Now, go say hello to our kookaburras. So in here we have 2 kookaburras. We have Kylie and Bruce. Oh, where are we? Hello, guys. Now, Bruce is up there. Kylie is down there. They have just had their breakfast, although they haven't eaten much of it. They've sort of scattered it all around the place. See if we can focus on you there, Bruce. Make you a bit more clearer. In fact, I'll come around the other way. Now, Bruce isn't the biggest fan of people compared to Kylie, who was not hand-rear, but she was very, very closely worked with people. She used to be a flying bird. She is much more sort of used to people being in here compared to Bruce. Bruce will often, when you get a bit too close, just fly off to the other side of the aviary. Bless him, but he's been very, very good today. So these guys, they are laughing kookaburras. As I've said, they are native to Australia. They are not a bird of prey, but they are a predatory bird. They hunt. They're a member of the kingfisher family, so they're going to be out there looking for not just fish, all sorts of other animals. These guys have an incredibly varied diet, and it's really, really cool. So they'll eat anything from, obviously, the fish. They are a kingfisher at heart, from snakes to lizards to bugs and grubs, all sorts of stuff. And they will occasionally go for small mammals as well, and they're amazing. Truly, truly amazing animals. And they have got the nickname the Voice of Australia, because the laughing part of their name, bye Bruce, they don't get for no reason. I know, I'm coming down on your level. Sometimes they're a bit like, can you not? There we go. You want to sit up there and have a little chat. So this is Kylie. And that laugh, although you didn't get to hear it properly then, is basically a much more dramatic, louder version of that. And it is for communication, but it's mainly a territorial thing, letting others know this is where they live, this is their home, this is their food, this is their sort of little family. So they do live, and it has been seen these guys living in large social groups in the wild. You're going to fly away. You're going to go sit up there together, are you? Make me look awfully silly down here on my own. Yeah? Well, these guys, they are amazing. Truly, truly amazing. And in the wild, like I said, they hunt such a large variety of food that it can become almost obsolete, their sort of actual methods of hunting, because they are really, really intelligent and they have such a varied way of hunting. They very, very quickly adapt to different situations. So if you imagine in our country, these guys are sort of like crows and seagulls, where they're very clever. So they've learned how to sort of make use and take advantage of the mess that we make, and basically use us for a very, very easy food source. So there was a news article a while ago where a kookaburra had learnt when a family would have a barbecue, I think it was maybe once or twice a week, and it would sit in the trees opposite, and it would fly in and grab a sausage off the grill every now and then. And the family was like, it's just one sausage, it's all right, feeding kookaburra, why not? And it's one of those where animals like this, because they so easily can adapt and make use of things like this, they can lose a certain aspect of wildness. And it's one of these effects that people are having on wildlife, where you look at something like a fox. If you go back to a fox 500, it would have to be a long, long time ago before people sort of turned up, because animals like that, they've learned to take advantage of us for an incredible amount of time. But if you go back and take humans out of the situation, like the European red fox isn't going to be finding bins naturally in the wild to go through, or finding rubbish and things like that. They're going to be out there hunting and scavenging on their own. So it's not so much, I shouldn't have worded like that really, them losing their sort of wild natural ability. It's them adapting to a world that is ever changing, and they're having to create all these different methods of surviving. Do they all sound the same, or are there variations in the laugh? I'm not entirely sure on that one. I would argue that to human listeners, there isn't that much variation. They have it so that it's not so much for identification. For identification, I'll go on to it in a minute, but it's much more for that territorial call. So, given the fact it is for defining territories, it would make sense for it to have slight variations, otherwise no one would know whose territory is whose, because they'd all sound the same. So it must have slight variation, but I would argue that it is limited to sort of family groups, the same way accents and things might be sort of akin to different areas of the country and stuff like that. So they do have sort of the ability to vocalise and change the vocalisations for different things. So I would argue that, yeah, more than likely, there is the ability to change it and make it unique. In terms of identification, they have this amazing thing, which I'd love to show you, but like I said, these guys are being little pains. Don't fly away. It's not that scary, Kylie. You've seen this before. You can see that along her wing, no you can't, she's being a pain. Along the edge of her and Bruce's wings, they have striking sort of greens and blues coming up that almost look sort of like a pale white. And she's come back down here. You want a bit of breakfast, or are you as fat as can be? You want a bit of breakfast. There you go. And it's very much the same with other birds, especially songbirds, where they'll use these UV sort of colorations, which is what that is. We can only see, obviously, what part of the spectrum our eyes allow us to. They can see an incredible array more than us. And as a result, it's basically like a fingerprint, how they identify each other. They all look different, and they all have different variations of those markings. And it's truly sort of amazing to see. And it is really, really cool to see. Sort of, it's one of those that is quite incomparable for us to visualize and see. Even holding a UV light over them doesn't do them justice, because it doesn't give sort of the indication of how deep and sort of detailed these different colors are. They are amazing. And I think I've jinxed it by talking about how nice the day's been, because the clouds have engulfed the sun while I've been talking. But these guys clearly aren't feeling the most sociable this morning, so I'll give it a little bit longer. Can they dive underwater? Yes, they can. They can dive underwater, pretty much the same ability as a kingfisher, but because of the way their bodies are designed, showing that very kingfisher shape of a very stocky, round body, long pointed head and long tail, basically having a very concentrated body mass, they can reach incredible speeds and incredibly short distances. So from about a 4-foot drop into the water, Kylie here would be able to reach about 40 kilometers an hour. So they can dive at these incredible speeds, and it does make them incredibly good at catching their food. And they do have incredibly waterproof feathers. They are much more akin to sort of ducks and other waterfowl, that basically the water just rolls right off them. So they're one of those birds that will fly in, catch their food, and then catch out. Catch out, fly out. You're not feeling very sociable though, are you? Would you like a bit of food? You're going to turn your back on me. You can actually see how pretty their tail is. There you go. Right, I don't think these guys are too happy with me, and I'm not going to overstay my welcome, although I've got a lovely question from Sky. What is your favourite fact about kookaburras? Oh, my favourite fact about kookaburras? That's a quite difficult question. I do really like the 40 kilometres an hour fact. It's amazing that they can build that speed in such short distances. But one of my sort of favourite things I would have to say is how they sort of catch venomous and sort of quite dangerous prey. Because these guys aren't raptors. They don't kill with their feet. They use their beak. Not like a spear, but it's what they catch their food with. They grab it. That's why it's so long. Although it's very sharp towards the back, it becomes very razor-like. Yes, it does. And what they do is when they catch something like a snake, they will grab it by the head and then they will whack it back and forth on hard sort of objects like branches and rocks to basically knock it unconscious and kill it. So it's a lot easier to eat. And there's a big argument about whether this is considered tool use, true tool use, or what it's considered. But it definitely shows like an understanding of their, you're doing the rounds, an understanding of their environment, which is something that not many animals can actually demonstrate. and it's a really, really good sign of their intelligence. Actually, you're doing it right now with nothing in her beak. Very clever. Right, so before I go, I will give it a go. I will try and get them to laugh, which they occasionally do, but all you might be able to hear is me whistling frantically trying to get a response. But usually they are quite good. So, are you going to make me look silly? I think you are. Right, should we give it a go? Love. Oh, sorry. Good? You done? No? Okay. Well, that is why they are called the laughing kookaburra. As you can see, it does sort of sound like they're laughing. And thank you very, very for both of you for not making me look silly. If any of you guys do have any questions that obviously I haven't had a chance to answer, and you had a chance to ask if you're not watching this live, please do just leave them in the comments. And if you have any suggestions for other animals that you would like to see during these little live streams, our little feeding times, please do let us know. I'd be more than happy to do them. Now I'm going to try and leave now. So it's been an absolute pleasure sort of talking to you guys this morning. I will try to get them to laugh one more time before I go, but usually after one time they're a bit like, nah. So on a laugh, shall we leave?